Hi there, Scott ROCKFILE, back with another podcast review for you. Going to talk about the 1990 movie Tremors in its 4K edition. This movie's always been a favorite. I'm not talking about any of the other 6 sequels, just the very first Tremors. Yeah, there's a bunch of sequels, and your mileage may vary. Arrow, the boutique label from the UK, I think they're from the UK, put out a version of several versions of Tremors in 4K over the past couple of years. The standard version, the limited edition, the steelbook, all that kind of stuff. And thanks to HamiltonBook.com, I got another cheap one a few weeks ago and finally watched it. Wow. First of all, it's a great transfer. If you're into 4K and all that kind of stuff, this is the best the movie's ever looked since it was in the theater. And I saw it in the theater, so I can say that. If you don't know anything about this movie, my short version is it is kind of like movies they don't make anymore. It is 100% practical special effects. It was a fairly low budget, but every penny is on the screen. You had screenwriters who had just had a hit and they were trying to do something creative. You've got Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward, great performances. Reba McEntire, Michael Gross from Silver Spoons. They all do really well in this film. It's a lot of fun. And they just don't make movies like this anymore. So if you've never seen it, see it. Skip all the sequels unless you really love the first one. The sequels, none of them compare to the first one. Longer version is, this movie came out in 1990 and was weird. You know, there was a lot of weird movies coming out at this time. A few years later, we'd get James Gunn's Slither, which was also a weird practical effects movie. That was wonderful about it. Watching some of the extras, Ron Underwood, the director who would go on to do bigger movies like City Slickers, he and his writing partners had an idea for this movie and they got it made right after they made Short Circuit. Yeah, they were the guys behind that. So you've got these 2 repairmen played by Fred Ward and Kevin Bacon, and they're trying to get out of town. This is a tiny little town in Nevada, and one thing leads to another to prevent them from leaving the town. And it turns out the entire town is being attacked by something. Yes, it is low budget, but by the standards of today, back in the day, it was a fairly decent budget. They spent a lot of it on the special effects. The creature effects, the gore, all that kind of stuff, really well done in this film, and why it holds up today. The performances are good. The cinematography is great. It's all filmed mostly during the daylight and the bright Nevada sun. It's a great looking movie, and it looks great in its new 4K edition considering its age. Should you add it to your collection? Absolutely. This is my kind of movie. It's a B movie with A-list stars having fun, chewing scenery, and just having a blast with it. I have no complaints about the movie. It moves quickly. They've updated the soundtrack. It sounds great. The 4K picture was wonderful. All in all, Tremors holds up. I haven't watched any of the sequels in many, many years, of which there's like 6 of them. I think there's been a total of 7 movies, maybe more. But they were all low budget and all straight to video, and I think Michael Gross is the only one who returned for a lot of them. Again, your mileage may vary, but the first one, that's a quintessential classic of 1990 filmmaking. Really, all the guys who were behind the cameras on this movie went on to bigger and more popular movies. While the movie didn't make a tremendous amount of money, it's sitting at 88% on Rotten Tomatoes. IMDb has it at 7 out of 10. 85% of Google users like it. Had a box office of an underwhelming 16 million, but I think it only cost about that to make. So if you haven't seen Tremors in years, pick up the new 4K edition. Well, I say new, it's been out for a year or two. But Arrow Video has really restored the thing from the original 35mm film, and it does look good. Fine layer of film grain, but some great HDR. The blood really sticks out, especially from the creatures. I don't want to give anything away, but there's some blood that kind of splatters across the orange rocks, and it's much easier to discern in the 4K with HDR engaged. Dolby Vision or HDR10 looked really good, the blood against the orange rocks and things like that. So if you're looking for that, there's a lot of detail in faces, a lot of detail in close-ups. Blacks are not crushed. It's everything you want in a 4K transfer on a movie this old, a movie that's 33 years old. Tremors, still a lot of fun this day. Lighthearted, horror sci-fi comedy, interesting premise, lots of action, and a great cast having a lot of fun. What more could you ask for? Check out Tremors in 4K. It is more than worth whatever you're going to pay for it. Scott Hamilton, I'm ROCKFILE. More podcasts are on the way. Sorry for my slightly stuffy nose, but it's the end of winter here in Alaska, and everybody's got some kind of crud. Not sick, just a little bit of congestion. Anyway, thanks for listening. Have a spectacular day.